So big names available, too. A lot of these squads need to be pretty aggressive in their pursuit. Nate, who should be super aggressive in trying to get a new QB?
The Jets.
Okay.
Just keep it very simple.
Let's go.
Just living out here in New York and New Jersey, talking to these Jets fans. They keep talking to me, hey, Nate, so is it Deshaun Watson? Is it Deshaun Watson? I'm like, yeah, it could be. One, you're going to have to convince the Houston Texans, and that's going to come with a lot of draft capital, maybe a premier player or two, because Deshaun Watson is that type of talent. And it's also because Robert Saleh is here. And if you're going to do it your way, take a big swing. We keep saying it, and that's a recurrent theme here on the show. Take a big swing and do it your way. Don't be hesitant. If you're signing on to a new squad and you have a quarterback that you're lukewarm about, don't just deal with it. Deal him or deal somebody else. So for me, it's Deshaun Watson going to the Jets. If they can pull this off, this would be an amazing pickup for this team, and it would change the landscape of this organization.
You're over the Sam Darnold experience? Like, you want to move on?
I am. And I said it before, this isn't a straight shot at Sam Darnold. I just don't feel he did enough to close the door on being the franchise face. But more importantly, and this is credit to Sam Darnold, I feel like he's going to play better in another system. He doesn't have enough of the skill set and the put it on my shoulders like Deshaun Watson does when there's a lack of talent. When Deshaun Watson is surrounded by DeAndre Hopkins or a couple of his star players are injured or he has a bad offensive line, there isn't a drop-off in his game. When Sam Darnold didn't have those things, there was a significant drop-off. I feel like Sam Darnold needs to be surrounded by top-tier talent, and we'll see a different QB out there.
Because a lot of Jets fans are feeling the same way, and a lot of people around the league, all their teams are saying, go get Deshaun Watson. The Texans aren't taking calls. What would be your advice to the Jets right now if you're talking to Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh? How do you get Texans on the line, and what would you say to them to say, hey, this is worth your time?
First, you figure out which premier player on your roster are you willing to deal. And then what first-round draft picks now into the future are you willing to give up? It is going to be a ransom that the Houston Texans are asking for.
So who's the best player on the Jets they're going to give up?
You giving up Quinnen Williams?
I don't see it. And if I'm Deshaun Watson, with those records that he had, you talked about how you don't even care about win percentages. Do you want to go to the Jets? Are you going to have a better record as a quarterback being surrounded by similar talent, even though there's new blood and a new coach? You're Deshaun Watson. Don't you want to go to a Niners? Don't you want to go to a team that's a Bears, a team that's contending?
Yeah, he liked an Instagram photo of him in a Jets mock-up of a jersey. Yeah, and then Allen Robinson liked it as well, and Allen Robinson's a free agent, so Jets fans are in a tizzy. I think it's Robert Saleh. I think the way Richard Sherman speaks about him, the way the players speak of him, they want to build. And for Watson right now, I feel like he's looking at the Texans, and it's anything but.
Yeah, I feel like the impression I'm getting is it's not about how many weapons we have. It's like
just
personal.
Get me out of here.
Like, I want to be with different people, but we don't know, and we're finding out. The thing with Darnold that's so tempting is that if you keep him, then you have that amazing draft pick to take an incredible defensive player, or trade down, you have wealth. But we'll see. If they get, let's say they get Deshaun Watson, the Colts, or get a new quarterback, maybe the Jets rather, maybe they go on a run, maybe they get to 500, maybe they get the playoffs. I bring up the Indianapolis Colts because I think if they get a great quarterback, they win the Super Bowl next year. And if I am in the AFC, I don't want the Colts to get Deshaun Watson. I don't want the Colts to get a new quarterback because the Colts then pretty much have everything. You know, you look at the...
Wait, Kyle. They're Super Bowl contenders. They're still in the AFC, bro.
The Mahomes factor is there. I'm not calling my shot.
Right.
But I'm saying the Colts this year, they're fine. They were a good team. They made the playoffs.
Close.
If they get a great... And I think, honestly, Rivers held them back. I think the last pass that Phillip Rivers threw of his career, which was the last pass of the season for the Colts, was a Hail Mary. And I think this was very metaphorical for the Colts themselves. It was like, we're almost there, but our quarterback just slightly needed to be a little greater.
And it was a Hail Mary to get Phillip Rivers, right?
Maybe it was. If they get they got everything. Second most cap space, the line, the defense, the coach. They lost their coordinator, they'll replace him. I am scared of the Colts in the AFC if they get a quarterback. There's other teams may be better. They could go to the Super Bowl next year with one of these guys.
You know, we have a show in the morning. We do it from 7 to 10. We always talk about pop culture and sports. From 6 to 7 in my dressing room, I watch CNBC, all right? That's what I'm watching. I'm watching Joe Kernan and Andrew Ross Sorkin. I'm watching those, Becky Quick. And if you look at the markets right now in Wall Street, old Wall Street is freaking out because the young, up-and-coming retail seller is out there, the day trader, and it's shaking up the markets. And there is an institution of Wall Street that is like, wait, I don't know how to handle this. I've handled this for years. That's this Deshaun Watson trade right now. It's, wait a second, no. Young man, you just signed a 5-year deal for $100 million. You sit quiet and there's no... And Deshaun Watson's like, nah, it's a new game.
Deshaun's Reddit?
Deshaun is Reddit. He's that guy. And I feel like there's a great similarity in how this is going on. And I think teams traditionally are old school teams. Chicago Bears are not a let's give it all away and get a quarterback. The Chicago Bears are defense, running back,
family owned,
cold weather, family owned.
Yeah.
You could also look at Ryan Pace and say, I passed on Deshaun Watson once already in the draft. I'm not gonna then, with my tail between my legs, say I made a mistake, but you know what? I will go and I will
have a chance to correct it.
I'm too proud. No, Ryan Pace, Matt Nagy, they're brought back for another year. Yeah. What are we doing? Yeah. Go for it. If I'm the Bears, I am emptying the bag. I'm saying we messed up.
Yeah.
We took Trubisky. We shouldn't have. And we are not old Wall Street. We are not some hedge fund that's been around for 30 years on the street. We are okay leaning in and embracing the new. And if GameStop is the hot stock, then heck, GameStop, I'm okay. I'm not going to be shorting it. Let's go. I look at the Bears. They're an old blue chip. They're a tradition with 100 years, all the franchise. They haven't had a great quarterback since who? Sid Luckman?
Yeah.
Like, who are we talking about here?
It's fair.
At this point, the Bears, yeah, you messed up. You took Trubisky over Mahomes. Doesn't matter. Took Trubisky over Watson. Doesn't matter.
You messed up with Foles, too.
Doesn't matter. Go get Deshaun Watson because Matt Nagy runs an offense that I know a lot of people roll their eyes about Matt Nagy. You put Deshaun Watson in that offense, mobile quarterback, watch out.
Because this is so unprecedented, Kyle, it's why I bring up, I mean, Deshaun Watson can basically dictate where he goes, right? If we're talking about him specifically, he can veto any trade that happens and he can make his own path. What about the other teams that have quarterbacks? If this is such a great QB and we haven't seen this, don't you think the teams that have quarterbacks also should be just as aggressive? I submit the Niners, who have their guy Jimmy G. We'll see if they move on from him. They get Deshaun Watson. They are a Super Bowl contender immediately. The Rams, Jalen Ramsey talking about it on the Versus last night with DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins saying that Deshaun Watson is an ex-Texan. Jalen saying, I want him on my team. They've been non-committal to Jared Goff this entire time. Shouldn't you, even if you have a quarterback, be trying to upgrade and be aggressive if it comes to Deshaun Watson specifically?
Sure. And there's teams that are not in love with their quarterback. They're like in like with them. You know, the ones you mentioned, obviously, like the Raiders, Derek Carr. Is John Gruden like, this is going to be it? I'm going to ride Derek Carr? I don't know. And I think you're right. I think we're seeing, especially what Tampa did. Peter brought up earlier in the show. They could have said, Jameis threw 30 touchdowns. I think we can turn this thing around. You can't.
They're in their window. They're in those two teams I mentioned in the NFC West. They're in the midst of their window. Like they, in my head, should be the ones that are sneakily trying to get Deshaun Watson. And Deshaun Watson was not going to veto a trade to go to a Super Bowl contender. Like he might to go to the Jets, which puts him in a similar situation.
I was talking to Tony Gonzalez recently, and he said having a good quarterback doesn't win the Super Bowl. Like Foles is an outlier. Some of these guys are an outlier. Are you winning a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott?
Yeah.
Are you winning a Super Bowl with Carson Wentz?
Gosh, I haven't even thought about Dak.
Are you winning a Super Bowl with Cam Newton? Matt Stafford, are you winning a Super Bowl?
Kirk Cousins.
Are you winning a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins?
Yeah.
I don't know. But I know you can win a Super Bowl with a superstar, and I know you can win one with Deshaun Watson because he's done it at every level, and maybe you just roll the dice.
Got to make a move to try to make your team better, make it happen in these windows.
Fired up this morning.
Yes.